Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. Just going to check if Facebook is live as well, which it seems to be. So yeah, I'm live on Facebook and YouTube. Anyone on Facebook, please check me out on YouTube, and anyone on YouTube, please check out me out on Facebook if you can. I'd really appreciate it. I appreciate your likes, comments, views, opinions, comments, views, the sharing of the video and all that kind of stuff. And welcome to the third and penultimate part of sorry, I'm very itchy, of my dreams ahead for time football, my vision for time football, and that kind of thing. Saying about cats, so some people say never work with children and pets or animals or whatever, and also cats only seem to want to pester you when you're trying to do something bad. It doesn't pester me, it's so cute, but I do want to try and get this out, get this done. Anyway, hoping to watch Question Time, a show called Question Time. For those who don't know what it is, it's a political show here in the UK. But anyway, I suppose it's not that important. This is more important to me. But anyway, I saw Norway played Estonia. I thought there's no way. That's my lame attempt at humour. There's no way that Estonia are going to do us a favour and beat Norway for us, or sneak a draw or whatever. So I think Norway are through. Not completely mathematically. I don't know if there is a way where Italy might be able to. I think we've got a draw in the game where even if we beat Norway, I think we're almost certainly going to go through a playoff, but I hope it'll be third time lucky, because we've been through a couple of playoffs and failed to get there. So hopefully this will be third time lucky and we can go on a run and make a miracle under Gattuso, but all the way to win it in spite of having to go through a playoff. That would be quite the underdog story, if that's the right word. But I know historically Italy was probably not the underdog in football. At the moment, unfortunately, we are. And I asked in part 2, which of my caps do you prefer? Do you prefer this Portugal one? I'm sure people from Portugal prefer that one. Or do you prefer this AC Milan one, which my brother got me from Milan itself? Or this Inter Milan one? I think I know which one Inter, I'm sure called AC Milan fans will say. But anyway, I thought I'd just ask that. But these are pointers number 21 to 30. Talking about wanting to get there on time and finish this off so I can go and watch Question Time. Here you go. So number 21, I'm going to try and remember all these things. 21 again. Be quite an irony if I forget, but not an irony I'd want to happen. What could be worse? First world problem. Being sarcastic, of course. But yeah, I was thinking there's no way that Estonia are going to do us a favour by getting points against Norway to give us a chance, to give Italy a chance or whatever. But obviously, they probably play 100% hopefully either way, but I just don't think they have the quality. So it would be doing us a favour by chance. I don't think they have the quality. But yeah, for Norway to lose and do Italy a favour. So they won 4-1. Italy won 2-0. Which, with all due respect to, we played Moldova. There's nothing to write home about, as they say. In fact, back in the day, Italy would have got through this, but through this group in first place more than likely. But fair play, Norway are doing quite well. They beat us 3-0 before. Again, back in the day, they wouldn't have done. I know England played and won 2-0 against Serbia, and I know there's a few games that said, like the England under 21 game. I think it's on Saturday. Hope I can watch that. It's on ITV4 or something here in the UK. That'd be interesting. Brazil are playing Tunisia, where my stepdad's from, on Tuesday. So it'd be interesting to watch that game, maybe. Brazil playing Senegal in the family, that should be interesting. But yeah, going back to Italy, going back to the topic at hand, I dream that, to recap, I'd love to see more younger players being given opportunities in Italian football and Serie A and that kind of thing, playing at youth at the senior level, to play at least 321 players and that kind of thing, and older players to teach young players in the park. But another thing I was thinking of is like the diaspora. I would love for the diaspora, the Italian diaspora, for Italian soccer, whatever you want to call it, to connect together with the diaspora from America, Argentina, Brazil, Canada, and all over the world. Even here in Britain, Blighty or whatever they call it, whatever that means, and even Germany and other footballing nations, those of Italian descent. Maybe they could even do spying missions and steal ideas, or maybe not. But who knows? But now I'm giving the game away. I know I talk too much, but yeah. On that note, but yeah, I love for the club to, for Italian clubs and the national team to connect with the diaspora. People could feel closer to their roots through footy, soccer, calcio, football, whatever you call it from America, Canada, Brazil, and elsewhere. Those of Italian descent maybe could share ideas to benefit Italian football, could view Serie A games and help Serie A, maybe even invest into sponsor or donate to such to feel in touch with their roots. So I love to see how Italian soccer, or whatever you call it, as I say, I think that soccer would be an apt term for this one, especially with the American diaspora and the Canadian one, perhaps. I think they call it soccer as well. But to connect in the Americas, like in Argentina, Brazil, and all over the world, really, Australasia and whatnot, seeing how Serie A and Italian soccer, again, or whatever you call it, can connect with the diaspora. And getting Italian, those of Italian descent, again, the diaspora, that's a word I struggle to pronounce, diaspora, however you pronounce it, to connect with their roots and whatever. So they can invest into it, sponsor it, donate to it, buy the subscription to watch Serie A games, so helping with the broadcasting and that kind of thing. So yeah, Italians around the world to connect with their roots, those who are partially Italian or fully Italian or whatever, who have Italian ancestry or partial Italian ancestry or whatever it might be, further elaborated perhaps. But also I'd love to make, talking about 21 again, I'd love to have a quest to make Italian soccer, again, whatever you want to call it, great again, to make it world class again and win World Cups and things like that. So to have a quest to do that, maybe have like billboards and things like that, and a campaign in Italy to work with politicians, councillors and whatnot to all work together to attract investment and sponsorship, which I hope to come to, and bring the country together, which I've talked about before, and I hope to in either part 1 or 2, certainly in part 1, I think in part 2 as well, but connecting Italians together, which I hope to come to in more detail again later on in the video and in part 4. And also thinking about 21 again, I've got this t-shirt which my mum's friend got me, which is oops, I have to be careful when I do that. I don't want to reveal my hairy stomach, which I sometimes do. I take my jumper off because I'm quite fat. I did that in the gym a few times, I went red and all that, and even in other places when I get a bit hot, which is not very often. But I wanted to show off this Italian top, and I've worn it before, some people have probably seen it before, but it's one from when Italy won the World Cup 20 years ago. So again, I hope we can bring back that miracle and help Italian teams become world class again, the Italian national team, and also teams like AC Milan and Inter Milan winning World Club Cups and things like that. So yeah, the quest to make Italian football, soccer, whatever you call it, great again, connecting together with the diaspora, recapping some of the older ideas, and I'm sure there's, just trying to think if there's anything else I was going to say. I just hope I don't forget. But if I do, I'll probably cover it later in the video and record in part 4. I'll say part 3, but this is part 3, of course. But yeah, I think I'm going to move on to point number 22. I just think, I hope there's not something that I haven't forgotten. But yeah, I dream that we'll get back to this glory day, which was 20 years ago next year, which is when the World Cup will be. So 20-year anniversary, and hopefully we can get back to say this glory day. But bringing those investments in and all that kind of thing, sponsorship and that kind of thing. Number 22, moving on, looking into the future of what Italian teams can do. I'm sure there's something else to say, but I've completely forgotten. I'm running behind schedule. Maybe I'll just watch, maybe I'll ignore question time and make part 4 and watch that on iPlayer or whatever. Watch repeats, basically on iPlayer or whatever, some other time or whatever. If I get around to it, because nothing. Yes, by the time I watch it, I'll miss the beginning bit. So, and it's not a priority, I guess. Making Italian football great again is much more of a bigger priority for me than watching a political show I can't do much about. But yeah, I dream the world will last long enough for Italian teams to become the most successful. Unfortunately, we're quite behind. I think I was going to say that point number 21 initially, but anyway, we're quite behind Spain in terms of the club teams. And I know we're at 1 World Cup again behind Brazil, but at the moment, if we can't get our act together, my fear is, I guess, that we are going to fail again for the 3rd time in a row, which would be really embarrassing, but it would also mean that I can't see us progressing. So I hope I'm wrong on that one, but excuse me, that's a big fear of mine. So yeah, especially if Brazil go on and win and go even one more ahead of us, in better English, there'll be 2 World Cups ahead of us rather than 1. Or if Germany win 1 and go ahead of us as well, heaven forbid. So that'll be my worst case scenarios. But I hope that those will be my worst case scenarios. But sorry. But yeah, my best case scenario would obviously be Italy to win. And I suppose somewhere in the middle of that would be, as long as Brazil or Germany don't win, I guess, it would still mean I suppose we'd be back to square one and have to rebuild. But it'd be great to make up for lost time. And again, especially as Italy won the World Cup 20 years ago, although life doesn't work that way, it would be great to celebrate the anniversary of that. But I'd also love for us to win in 2030. So I'd love for the Italian national team to become the most successful, I suppose, by 2030. Although club teams, I think we're quite behind Spain. I think we'd have to win. We'd have to get our act together really quickly. And the fact we're not winning things at the moment at club team level either would mean would take quite a while to catch up with the Liga teams winning Champions Leagues, World Club Cups, Super Cups, and God knows what, Conference Leagues, Europa Leagues, and things like that. Yeah, I'd love to see Italian teams win more of those, of course. And something else I was going to say, but I'm going to move on to point number 23. I'll probably include it in later in the video, but I'll say in the later video. Anyway, jumping ahead of myself a bit. In part 4, I hope to. I better not get you off, my T-boy. In part 4, I hope to talk about, like, as I said before, like in part 2, I said in part 4, I hope to talk about what I hope to achieve in the future. Number 23, I'd love to attract all possible investment and sponsorship into Italian football. Any legal ways the club can attract investment, sponsorship, and basically money, funds, or whatever you want to call it, into the club, into Italian clubs, into Serie A, the Coppa Italia, the Super Cup, and Italian football generally, including the national team, places and spaces for playing and practicing football, spaces and places for practicing soccer, or whatever you call it, as I say. On my alliterations there. So yeah, any sort of legal way they can attract investment. I think that's where neurodiversity could even come in, because we could look at out of the box thinking, and also even people with mental health problems. It might even be something we could work on, which would give us something to do, which would make us feel better about ourselves, because it's something we have a purpose on. So benefiting Italian football, again, soccer, calcio, whatever you call it, or whatever. That could be our purpose in life, like it's part of my bucket list, and maybe other people with mental health problems, I could try and convince as many of them to do the same, and that's something they could work on themselves as well to feel better. But yeah, any sort of legal way Italian football can attract investment and sponsorship, and even donations, basically money, funding, that kind of thing, same sort of thing. Basically to improve the infrastructure and get Italians to be able to have more opportunities to play, let's say pitches, stadiums, or whatever the better term is, and that kind of thing for Italian football to develop academies and that kind of thing, which I hope will benefit Italian football at club and country level, the national team, and all that kind of thing. Preferably ASAP, so we can start winning things. Yeah, I hope Gattuso can use his experience to say this is what we did in 2006. I know the personnel was different, obviously, but this is what we did in 2006. And talking about 2006 and previous teams, maybe former players as well, can talk about, like, this is how we achieved success. Unfortunately, I think the ones who won in 82, the year I was born, are probably no longer with us mostly, but we lost Paolo Di Rossi recently. Paolo Rossi. I think his name was Paolo Di Rossi. I think it was. But yeah, we lost quite a few of them so far. So yeah, I don't know how many would be still around, but even any former Italian players who had any level of success meeting up, like I said in point number 16, like think tanks would meet up and discuss the best ways to benefit Italian football. Number 24, I'd love for Italy to come together, the whole country. I said about the diaspora, but those in Italy, like, I'd love for all possible Italian citizens, as well as those from the diaspora, to subscribe to the Serie A official YouTube channel, and to get them to so many views. And also I'd love to encourage my fellow Anglo-Indians and other Eurasians, as well as people around the world, to subscribe to the official Serie A YouTube channel, and even to the FIGC, the Italian FA's official channel, and that could try and monetize itself if it's not already monetized, so that if people watch the adverts and support the channel and watch the videos and that kind of thing, hopefully they can make enough money to buy more pitches as well, use that money to invest in infrastructure and football pitches, footballs, and basically football opportunities, so they can use that to sponsor Italian football as well. So it's another way to attract more investment into football through the YouTube channels and that kind of thing, the Serie A channel and the FIGC channel and that kind of thing. But I wonder what politicians and councillors, businesses and citizens across Italy can do to benefit their national team and make Italian football proud again, make Italian football great again, and make Italian football world class, and make Italian football win again, and all that kind of thing. As I said in point number 21. But I suppose FIFA and UEFA have some rules that you have to follow. So I think you're not allowed, the government and councillors and whatever decision makers are not allowed to get too involved in football. So I hope they'll work with FIFA and say, let's do it legally, obviously, and say what are the rules and what are all the legal ways, as I say, and creative ways Italian soccer can attract investment. How can Italian businesses say this is how you attract investment and that kind of thing. And I talked before about like how if they could work with FIFA and UEFA to say, if we promote the image of the beautiful game and make it as beautiful as possible and tackle racism and prejudice and violence and all those sorts of things with football, with the Italian FA and Serie A and politicians, councillors and parks and schools and the Italian society says we want to tackle football, hooliganism through football and things like that, issues with football, and bring the country together, include migrants with football and things like that. Maybe even like migrant and refugee charities could help with the migrants who come to Italy. They can be included through football, as I talked about before. Then hopefully all sorts of, any sort of legal ways Italian football can make money to invest in. I call it infrastructure, but I mean like stadia. Well, I suppose that's part of infrastructure, but even like footballs and just opportunities for Italians to play and practice football would be pretty cool. Number 25, I dream that Italian football would have so many different footy tourneys, as they call them, tournaments, leagues, cups and things like that. Invite people like the NeuroDIVERSE Cup, Mediterranean Cups, Mediterranean tourneys, leagues and things like that for Mediterranean nations, Latin nations, Latin countries, countries from the Mediterranean, Middle East, Eurasian nations, transcontinental countries generally, and even Asia and Africa, and also going to Asia and Africa, like places like China and India and Kenya, Ethiopia, South Africa, and places like that, and playing football and having deals with football. Like I'd love for Italy to host like the Mediterranean Cups, Republic Cups, Tricolor Cups, and things like that, but also to say like we'll help Italy with we'll help Africa with migration and legal routes, as long as like there's people with good talent in football that can benefit Italian football. That's one of my naive ideas, I guess. Ideally, and we'll help Africa in like technology and in business and that kind of thing. So Italians who are good at that sort of stuff, or even the Italian government fundraising for those sort of things. And in return, hopefully Africans will benefit Italian football, invest into, sponsor, support and follow Italian football and that kind of thing. So hopefully improving relations with football. Again, I suppose I'm being very naive, but I'm being very idealistic. Those are my dreams, which I dream will benefit Italian football, as well as all these ideas. Ideally, again, I said before, like I'd love to travel to Italy and share my ideas, my tic-tacs, as the dyslexics would say, are tactics and strategies for Italian football. I suppose I'm thinking of words that begin with T because it's Thursday. Some might think of those, but not me. But anyway, sorry, attempts of humour aside. Number 26, maybe Italian football could give back and have like the Roman Empire Cup or something like that. So a bit like the Commonwealth, but for countries that were invaded by Italy, but in football. And maybe like, although giving back to those countries could still have a cheeky benefit by sort of playing football and benefiting from football. But I do think they should give back to countries that were colonised by Italy, by the Roman Empire, as an anti-imperialist. I only support Italy. Normally I don't support countries that colonise others, but in Italy's case I make an exception when it comes to football, or Mediterranean teams generally, but especially Italian ones, or Italy itself. I suppose I kind of like Spain. That's a bit of a dilemma because they're a bit of a competition with Italy. Also in France, I guess Brazil is Mediterranean, but they're one of our biggest rivals as well, just like France and Spain. And Spain in terms of club team levels, especially. Yeah, giving back, I guess, is one thing. Like I said, when Italy has trade deals with African countries, and Giorgia Meloni and others meet with African leaders and whatnot, they can talk about like, if you benefit our football, we'll benefit you economically and in tech. So as the saying goes, killing two birds with one stone. From a selfish point of view, that would benefit the town football. I often say, like, I need to think of a vegetarian version of that as a vegetarian. But moving on, number 27, having the walk and Hall of Fame, one I talk about quite a lot, and acknowledgements on websites, on YouTube and TikTok and whatnot, saying who are the biggest investors into, sponsors of, donators to, and just general benefiters, or whatever the best English word would be, those who have helped, the best helpers of Italian football, whatever you want to call it, supporters of Italian football, the most loyal fans, the best overseas managers who have helped Italian teams win trophies, like Jose Mourinho helped Inter Milan win the Champions League and Roma win a Europa League, I think it was, or a Conference League, or whatever. Conference League, I think it might be. But anyway, and even get to a final, although unfortunately lost that one. But for all his flaws, he did quite well. So those who have helped the Italian team win a trophy at that club or country level, and that kind of thing. I'd love to know from Italian fans who you would like to see play, coach, manage, and just generally be involved in Italian football, like directors of football, dietitians, or whatever, and what could benefit Italian football. And number 28, on that note, I forgot to say, I think in the intro, or in point number 21 or 22, I'm saying it now, I guess, but I'd love to have Zoom chats with my fellow Italian supporters, Italian soccer supporters, again, whatever term you want to use, footy, soccer, calcio, football, or whatever you want to call it, and discuss like ways to benefit Italian football, how to attract investment, how Italians can play football more, and things like that. And to discuss even such things on Zoom and things like make YouTube videos and that kind of thing. I know people have done that before, but I hope to have as many Italian supporters as possible discussing what's best for Italian football, or just our views, or just having a chat and discussing such, or a therapy group. Hopefully we won't need one if we get through the playoffs. Right now we probably need one, but hopefully we'll get through the playoffs and have a miracle and go all the way to winning it again by some miracle. Number 29, once again, I'd love to see what Anglo-Indians and other Eurasians and neurodivergent people and people with mental health problems can do to benefit Italian football. Thus changing perceptions, like there's a method to the madness, showing the positive side to mental health, those with mental illnesses like myself, and also neurodiverse people, showing what we can do. And number 30, as I say, is a guilty and selfish pleasure, but I hope Italian football can win as much as possible at club and country level, and I hope I didn't forget anything. And as per usual, I took way longer than planned, but anyway, I was just trying to get comfortable and trying to remember things, and I was trying to avoid distractions and whatnot. But anyway, I'm going to stop everything and I'm out. Peace and love. As ever, please let me know what you think. Hopefully it won't be too harsh.